their defense and try to put together as you try to put together your plans.
How much of a temptation is there to do too much of what other teams do well against someone versus what you do well?
Yeah, I think that's the dilemma for all coaches. Like, hey, that's a really good play, but how does it fit into what we do? How does it fit into the skill sets of our players? We're trying to play to our strengths. And so you may say, hey, this is a good scheme, but it takes a certain type of player at this position to run it, and it may not be what we're in. It also may be something, we don't do it all. So then, time on task, how many times did you have to run that play versus the varied looks that they give you, and is it worth investing that time in that, or is it better to invest in time in some other things? So that's always part of your how much is too much, how much is too little. You're always kind of going into these games and saying, are we prepared for each situation? Do we have enough players in those situations? Then do we have the requisite amount of time to practice them so we feel confident that we can call them in a game that our players can execute? So.
Coach, what do you know about the Texas defensive coordinator?
I know Pete. We've again faced him back when I was on the West Coast, and Pete was on the West Coast of Washington also. He was there with Chris Peterson at the time. Really sound, very, very well-coached team. Their co-defensive coordinator, Johnny Nansen, was on my staff when I was at UCLA, so I worked with Johnny before. So really well-coached. They don't give up anything cheap. I think they're the #1 red zone defense in the country, and that's for a reason. So, and they played, a big-time SEC schedule. So, really, really well-coached team and a really good scheme.
Last time, calling the plays in that game, maybe patience was tested simply because, as you just mentioned, the defense was adamant on not giving up anything.
Yeah, I think that happens in every game. So I don't think there's one in particular. I think every week, offensively you want to try to score every drive you have, but there are some times that you go 3 and out and you're frustrated because you didn't execute on first down, so now you had a second and long and you didn't get half the distance on second down, so now you got a long third and long, and giving them an opportunity to get into the nickel or dime packages. And, usually when you're trying to stay ahead of the sticks, so you can go from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 6 to 3rd and 3, and then 3rd and 3 is a lot easier than 3rd and 13. So, but that happens in every game itself. There's not one game where it was just every play you called worked. It never happens.
We talked to Coach Flood about coming up in small ball coaching, and he mentioned coaching against you at New Hampshire. And I think you and I have talked about this before, but do you think that coming up that way and coaching at that level is, what have you picked up from that moving forward to where you are now?
I think everybody has varied paths to how they get there. It's just, I think sometimes when you are at a lower level, you have to have more responsibilities. So, not only are you the running back coach, but you may also be the recruiting coordinator and in charge of filming practice. So, you pick up a lot of different things and a lot of different skill sets that maybe you wouldn't get if you were at a bigger school where you were just the GA for the O-line and that's all you ever did. You didn't get exposed to it. Then you get exposed to a lot more things. When you have to coach at the lower levels, just because there aren't as many coaches, so you have to wear a lot of different hats. So I think that helps you in the long run in terms of your development. But there's pluses to it.